Welcome everyone on the next episode of our webinar series. If you're not familiar with our webinars episode, I definitely recommend you to check our website, BIMStreamer.com, where under the knowledge section, you will find a recording from our previous episode of BIM for manufacturers. And we've recently just added a new recording from our last episode that took place just before the holiday, where together with Frederic Grant from Building Smart France, we were talking about the Building Smart Data Dictionary. So if you're actually interested in preparing the BIM content, which is compliant with different classification and standardization, definitely check the video recording from the BSDD session. And let's get back to our current episode. Let's get back to our current speaker. I would like to welcome a person who is actually a good friend of Frederic Grant because they were working together for several years. He is also coming from France, and he would like to tell you a bit about the validation of the data, which can later on be transferred into the BIM content. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to welcome Mr. Roland Dominici from Cobuilder. Hello, Roland.
Hello, Marcin. Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining our session. And as usual, I invited product owner of the BIMStreamer project that will help us to present you the knowledge from more practical way. So the utilization of the knowledge that would be shared not only by Roland, but also by Adam later on will be presented in the form of the demo. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to welcome Adam Końca, project manager of the BIMStreamer. Hello, Adam.
Hello, everyone.
And let's get back to our agenda. So, today we will talk about slightly maybe untypical topic, maybe not something that you think at the very beginning as a key topic when you're preparing the BIM libraries, when you're preparing the BIM content, but in the later stage, you will figure out that this is something really critical. And I'm talking about the data quality. I'm talking about the BIM files quality. And we will try to address two topics when it comes to the quality of the BIM libraries on today's session. The first topic will refer to the library data, so the product information which is located inside the BIM file. This part will be in most part covered by Roland part, and the latter part related more to technical aspect, more to geometry, will be covered by Adam. Later on, we will summarize that in the form of the demo. That should help you to picturize what the idea of the quality management is all about. And referring to today's agenda topic, I would like to quote one of the great entrepreneurs of 20th century, Mr. Henry Ford, which states that quality means doing it right when no one is looking. So from your perspective, when you're preparing the BIM content, no one is looking at you, but you should make sure that your BIM library has a proper quality. And right now, I'm giving away the stage to Roland. And Roland, if you could give us a bit more introduction of the data quality, which can be later on transferred into the BIM content. How we can do that?
Okay, so hello everyone again. So thanks, Marcin. So yes, so within Cobuilder, we what is the challenge we have to help stakeholders from construction sector? It's we consider that what is the main challenge is to make your data your value. Okay, so with a main objective is to to bridge the gap between the three main phases of a project. It's the design, execution, and asset management. So first, I would like very shortly to present what is Cobuilder. So Cobuilder, it's we have more than 20 years experience of helping construction actors to digitize. We are a privately owned international business company with 120 employees. The headquarters is in Oslo, and we have wholly owned subsidiary in UK, France, and Bulgaria. Important to mention here is we are a strategic contributor to the standardization work through the Sense and Leg, through the ISO, and we are also member of Building Smart. So here it's just to illustrate why I'm saying that we are a strategic contributor. Cobuilder is contributes since a while to standardization work. So here is a picture so done by my colleague, colleague from Cobuilder, so Espen Schulz. So it's where we all the standard today already published or in progress to be published about all the different topic of the Construction Act, with the common data environment, the process, and the data, of course, the data template. We will focus today mainly on this part, and with the data dictionary. So yes, what is our core business? So our core business is standard-based data management. So to enable all stakeholders to exchange operate seamlessly in a common language for a better built environment. Of course, it's the objective is not only to use the common language. It's a means. Common language is a mean, okay, to as I said in the introduction, to bridge the gap in between on the main phase, and of course to feed the challenge the construction sector have is to have to better built environment. So here just to it's not something new for you, but it's what is important to know. It's why the data, why all is about data. Why the data is so important in our sector is because the data is the DNA of a built environment. Okay, so for all from the earlier stage of a project to the deconstruction phase, we will need data to perform all the process. And for that, we have only way to converge where a common language is to share and to use all the product standard and regulation also, but also to implement method standards. Okay, so I would like to start before by what is important, because it's about the cost, okay, because all the actors expect a lot of benefits, so qualitative but also quantitative benefit. But we have to look at what are the costs of a non-optimized data management today. So we have five topic, five dimension of this of the cost. Of course, we are speaking a lot today because we have a lot of trends. We have Industry 4.0, we have circular economy, we are speaking about asset, Internet of Things, but the concern for all of this is the data in the middle, right? So the first thing is the time. We have a lot of things. We are spending a lot of time. Okay, so here it's just an illustration with the figures coming from a UK study on the weekly wage of by yes, a link to the time spent to read read documents, to fill out documents, to searching for document. So this is just an illustration what is behind the time consuming, and which cost is higher behind waste. The second thing is the way to access and collect data. All of you know that in our environment, it's a lot of time consuming to collect the data we have, because we have a lot of things. We have a lot of database, so I have each time to know in which database is the data I need. Okay, so the first issue is the time I spend to collect data, but it's not the main one. The second one is when collect all the data I need to provide to my client, okay, I'm not sure to have the right information. So this is another important topic. The third one is the lack of repeatability. When you work with Paul, we have to structure your data in a way. When you work with John, you have to structure your data in another way, and you have to create a new project file for each deal. So this is why, for focusing, of course, on structured data, but it's also concerned with graphic representation. The fourth one is, are we talking about the same thing? So it's the uncertainty in conceptualization and the interpretation of data. And just to illustrate this, I would like to share with you this picture. It's not mine. It's a colleague from mine did this comparison for the same construction object. Or here we have an example of a fire-resistant partition. He has compared the way to describe the same to the same. So on the picture, you look that the manufacturer one is describing this construction object using 11 property, the second one 20, and the last one 19 property. This is the first issue. The second one is when you compare, we have 8 common property, but all of them are not named with the same definition or the same name. So this is the reality. So it's what I mean when I say, and come back on that, are we talking about the same thing? So for that, okay, we will see later on how to do this. And the light one, of course, not new for you, but what is important as part of a strategy of a company is by providing the right information to the right time to the right person. Okay, it's the way to get customer satisfaction and regularity. Okay, if a customer is happy to work with you, he will work with you for a long time. So based on this, what we can expect in terms of benefit of quality data management based on common language. So expected benefit, we have first, okay, to as I told you in the earlier, to say that we have to manage the data based on product standard and method standard. It's why within Cobuilder we have developed solution, okay, by using this standard, international ISO standard, EN standard, and the benefit we can expect it all the supply chain, okay, is of course, for example, on the supply chain way to deliver fast and disrupt the value chain, of course, to save time and cost, because cost is money, reduce waste, to build greener, to meet client needs, this is important, and beyond, and to manage relationship and regulatory requirements. And this will be possible if we are able to manage data using a common language. So now, how we within Cobuilder we address the different issue I mentioned. So I would like to focus on our product offering. So here it's to represent, okay, what is the common language used for reliable data throughout the work, the construction asset lifecycle management, with 3 main challenges. So again, the right information at the right time, but to market solutions that comply with current standard regulation. And of course, because we are in a digital area, we have to make our information machine readable, but also as well as human understandable. So Cobuilder solution, where we are in the act of construction. So I will focus on the 3 main tools we provide today. So we have the tools called Cobuilder Define. This is the tools used we are in construction sector, so to use to make the foundation. We have another tools called Cobuilder Go BIM, for mainly for manufacturer and distributor. And we have another last one is called Cobuilder Collaborate, who address specifically the project management team. So first one, it's Cobuilder Define. So with Cobuilder Define, what we're doing is the way to make construction object data available in a standard-based common language. So for that, we have developer tools according to ISO standard. So you know that last year we launched the first two new BIM standard called ISO 23386 and ISO 23387. So this standard are methodology of standard. So the first one, ISO 23386, is to how to offer and maintain property into a dictionary. So in Cobuilder Define, we follow this process and how to create a dictionary. Of course, we are using first the beginning of the step is to refer to the official source of information. So what is it? It's regulation, harmonized standard, EAD, the standard ISO industry requirement, but also specific user requirement. You have in ISO 23386 a dedicated workflow, okay? To create, before creating a property, you need to get an approval from an expert committee, or okay? And then you can create your property into the dictionary to make the dictionary available to all the stakeholders, from owner, architect, engineer, contractor, and so on. So this is the first step. But creating a dictionary is not enough. Why we have to create a dictionary is because we have the second step. The second step is to create a data template. So data templates for construction objects. So is and for that we are following the standard ISO 23387. So more or less here is the same process. So I take as an example a plasterboard because I know very well this activity of product. So of course we refer to the official source of information, and we will use the property dictionary approved by the expert to create the data template. So in this case, for the plasterboard, we will refer, for example, to the European standard EN 520, to the DOP, to the EPD, to the SDS. The process is the same. When you create a data template for a construction object, you have to get an approval for an expert committee, and at the end, okay, we will have a construction data template, construction of data template, quality approved, and they will be shared by all the stakeholders. So with Cobuilder Define, we create the condition to have data templates in a common language in between all stakeholders.
So in that case, what if I understand it correctly, we're able to specify different data templates, and it will make sure that we won't have the same situation as you said at the previous slides, one of the previous slides, that the same values will be described in a different way by different manufacturer, because thanks to data templates we're able to standardize the attribute, isn't it?
Yes, yes. You know, you can when you have to write a sentence, whatever the language, okay, you have to you refer to a dictionary, okay. So just to put the right word at the right place and so on. So it's the same. So before creating a data template for construction object, you have to refer to a dictionary approved by experts. So it's a dictionary. That's where you can find all the property with definition, with attribute that describe, that qualify each property into the dictionary, and then you can create your data template based on your dictionary.
Maybe I will do slightly a spoiler, but in the later stages of this presentation, we will show you how we will use the data templates from Cobuilder
Exactly.
to actually validate the quality of the data within the BIM content. But
Yes.
taking the occasion that we are talking about the Cobuilder Define, we have one questions from the audience. So I will just read it in loud, and maybe Roland, if you can somehow refer to that. In sources, industry requirement, I missed ETMMC as a source. And the question is whether the Cobuilder is
No,
taking into account
no,
the
no,
ETMMC.
no. Yes, yes. Yeah. Okay, but it's yes. I will add in my slide, of course. I put in source of information some requirements, but yes, of course, I will for the next I will add this in my slide. Sorry.
Okay, so we will cover the ETIM part in the
It's
following slide.
yes, yes, because it's all you have regulation, so it's official. So we have standards, but we have industry requirements. So I put here some example, of course, but you can refer, of course, to a team as well.
All right, we have another questions. Will 23887 provide set of specific data attribute required for each product categories? If yes, then what is the difference between ETIM and ISO? Is there any connection?
So the 23887 is a standard, okay, to use to implement the data model, okay, the data model with all the entity to link the different entity into between. We have construction object, we have data template, we have group of property, we have property. So the 23887 is there, okay, to explain how it's more for technical people. It's how to implement in a database, okay, your data model, okay. So
Okay,
it's
so
not
so
it's
the
not linked to the to the data.
to any
It's
particular classification. It's rather the way how the classification should be orchestrated.
yes, yes, but it's not linked to specific classification or so on. Okay, it's the way to implement your to structure your data model, not the data template, your data model, okay, into a database. Okay,
Okay, just
is
for clarity, what is the difference between the data model and data template? Because it might not be obvious for everyone on the audience.
for me, the difference is the data model is the structure of the database. Okay, so you have
Hmm.
relation, you have object, you have entity in a database, you have a model, you conceptualized model. Okay, where you link relation in between. You have of course, you have a construction object. To a construction object, you can attach a one-to-one data template. So this is a data model. The data template, okay, is it's the set of property you need to describe a construction object. So here is the example I show on my slide, okay? So
Hmm.
here it's you have a data template for plasterboard, and for other it's you have different. So it's just an extract. You have property linked to geometry, you have property linked feature, you have performance, to operation, and so on. So for me, I make a difference in the wording in between what is data template and what is data model. But
Okay.
maybe you don't. Me, yeah, it's just to. Yes, it's a wording. It's a wording issue.
Mm. Okay. So what next does the co-builder can offer?
Okay, the next one is the solution Cobuilder GoBeam. So this tool is fit the needs from many from manufacturer and distributor, and with GoBeam is the way to make your catalog data available in a standard-based common language. So this is with two main uh, objective in a common language. Common language means repeatability. Okay, so if you use a common language, we will not be constrained, okay, to have a point to point interface or exchange with your client. Okay, we agree on the common language, and then you can automate process and repeat, okay, process each time you have requirements from your client. And the second fix is important. It's in a way to publish once, diffuse to all. Okay, so you have your catalog, your internal catalog, and from your internal catalog, you will diffuse your information, okay, to all your client. So for that, it's very overall process. Okay, you have your internal catalog, you will use the data template we have created in Cobuilder Define to convert, translate, whatever the word you want to use, okay, to convert in a standard-based catalog, okay, and this catalog will be so in Cobuilder GoBIM, and from Cobuilder GoBIM you have different functionality, and you can address and feed the different processes you have internally. So, for example, configuration tools, selectors, whatever, okay, and then to connect all your client, okay, to these different services you provide to your customer.
So,
So
so just
this
just to summarize, so CoBuilder Define is capable of defining the data templates, which later on can be used within CoBuilder GoBIM to actually provide the actual data according to these data templates, right? So if I have a
absolutely,
all
absolutely.
right,
It's what I
so
mean. You have internal catalog. You apply your data template to internal catalog, and you get a standardized base catalog using the data template.
so
Absolutely.
isn't it that the CoBuilder GoBIM is some sort of a PIM solution?
In depending on the context of a manufacturer, for manufacturer who don't have a PIM, yes, I would say we can implement GoBIM as a PIM, but clearly GoBIM is not a PIM if you compare to a solution from IBM or say okay. But
Mhm.
depending on the context of a manufacturer, we can use GoBIM as a PIM, but it's not really a
Okay.
PIM. Okay.
All right. All right. Okay. And you said that there are also a third module which CoBuilder provides, and it's actually more like designed for the rather for the collaboration, isn't it?
Absolutely. So Cobuilder Collaborate, it's to how to provide the right information to the right person at the time during the process. Okay. So here is again an overall process, but what is Cobuilder Collaborate about? It's about the project data management. Okay. So here you have all the different phases of a classic project. We have, of course, the common data environment from the project management. We have here the owner in charge of operation, maintenance, and asset life cycle. And here we have collaborate also. How does it work? So in four main steps, we get the project requirement. So focusing on data, again, I repeat, not on graphic representation. We get project requirement. We collect data from the subcontractor, so distributor or manufacturer. Okay. Then the first step, we have a process, automate process, that we look at all the deviation. Okay. For example, I expected from this phase of my project, I expect this and this information because is what I mentioned in the data template and what it's linked to the level of information need for this stage. Okay, so I expect this information. So I call a manufacturer or subcontractor to provide me this information, and I identify in the deviation process that some information missing. So in this case, I return to the subcontractor saying, "Oh, we have to provide me this information they are missing, and it is." So this is the process, okay, to make deviation, to check if what is provided by the subcontractor is compliant with the project requirements in terms of data again. Then when it's done and when it's okay, we link again the data to the digital mockup. This is the process mainly addressing the execution phase. At the end, when we are in this time to deliver the building or to deliver the infrastructure, okay, we deliver to the owner of the works. We can deliver all the data he will need to implement operation maintenance phase and to manage his asset into the building. So we have, for example, a format, an export format. It's called COBI. All of you know COBI, but we can provide this information expected by the owner in different format. So this is Cobuilder Collaborate. So focusing on data again, and behind collaborate, of course, and the same with GoBIM, we always have Cobuilder defined with a data template. Okay, so our tools, of course, refer to the repository. Then with the repository is what is contained in Cobuilder defined.
Okay, thanks for this intro. I think that when it comes to maybe not in particular Cobuilder collaborate, but during the next part of this session, we will present how the Cobuilder define can be used in order to validate the BIM content inside the BIMStreamer. When it comes to GoBIM, I think that it also can be somehow integrated in a form of the data source, because GoBIM actually provides the structuralized set of product information, and we're right now even in the discussion of one of the manufacturer to utilize GoBIM as a data source for product information that can be injected by the BIMStreamer. But right now we were discussing only the data part of the BIM content, of the BIM libraries. But as you may aware, the BIM content is actually divided in two, let's say, major part. The data part, which was covered by Roland, and thank you for that, and the geometry part, which is going to be more like covered by Adam. Adam, how we can make sure that the quality of the BIM content from the geometric perspective is also assured?
Okay, thank you very much. Hello everyone once again. Yeah, according to the data validation, we have several options within BIM. Data validation is just one of them, and what Roland has showed is that we can validate the data through the data templates. On the other side, we would like to check, for example, master models after injecting the data into these files. If it's correct, or it will not blow up because, for example, Revit will throw an exceptions because of invalid data. It is also possible that we will inject invalid data because we have bugs in the data in source. We know that. Sorry, I can't move to. Yeah, now I have the next slide. We know that generation of so many Revit files manually is impossible. Manual verification of these files can be hard as well. That's why platforms like BIMStreamer should provide modules that will help in this validation as much as possible.
So Adam, if I may ask something, why do you think we should actually perform the validation of the either Revit files or the IFC? If the generation of this libraries happens in an automated way, why we actually need to validate it? I understand. I would understand that if we would do the preparation of the content manually, but since we are doing it in an automated way, why this validation of this geometry of this IFC or the Revit file is actually necessary?
This is integration environment which contains data from many sources. There might be wrong data in the source. It is possible that Revit will not work as it should. For example, not inject the attributes into IFC or Revit. It happens. Or will generate empty DWG files. It also happens. It is possible that there might be different kind of bugs within the systems that will cause that something will get wrong with the synchronization. So it's also a good practice to validate the generated data. However,
what about the data? Let's say the BIM files. So if we're talking about the generation of the BIM files, we need to have the template of the geometry and the data itself, right? But if we would like to merge them, could that be the case that either data or the master template is broken?
Yes, exactly. It's also possible.
Okay, and probably combining different variations of the data for each and every variation, if we would like to generate the BIM file, it might be more like dozens or thousands of variations. So probably manual verification might not be possible.
Yes, exactly. That's why we are trying to make that validation automatically and detect not valid data in automated way. How we can do it? According to IFC and RFA, these files usually contains additional attributes and the values for these attributes that were injected during the synchronization process, during the generation. And it's possible that we can verify if the attributes we have sent to this file was really injected there. So we are comparing it with the result file. And we can display the result in a table. So for example, we will show only the invalid attributes. According to the validation module we have in BIMStreamer at the moment, it's the first version of that module, and we are still working on improving it. And I will show you that the errors we are detecting at the moment should be or can be ignored because, for example, they are connected with presenting the information in a different way by Revit. For example, the example that I will show you in a demo, the information in a data source 0 or 1 is presented in IFC or RFA as in IFC as T or F, as true or false, and for example in Revit as yes or no. So such errors in the next version of our validation model will be detected as not errors, because this is not an error. Another possibilities of errors that might not be errors is, for example, rounding the numbers by Revit. For example, we are sending the number 1.678 to the Revit, but Revit displays this information in Revit file as 1.7. It also, this is the question how manufacturers would like to treat such information. If it's really an error, and in such cases, we should change the configuration of Revit so it will not round these numbers, or we ignore this information and we treat it as a good value so we can publish such information. I think that's all about talking about these errors. Let's check how it works in a real system. Let's switch to the demo. Demo example. What will be presented? So as usual, back office is the heart of the system. To the back office, we are inputting the data and the master models. In our case, the data will be provided with an Excel file. However, it can be switched to integration with any BIM systems or any other database where data are stored. We have also integration with Cobuilder for validation. We will validate the data provided with an Excel file with data template created within Cobuilder. Cobuilder, as was said previously can be in a special way treated also as BIM. So it can contain not only the data templates, but also the data, and data can be taken from Cobuilder as well. Additional modules connected to the back office, in this case is Revit module, which is responsible for files generation. When the file will be created, they should be validated. So we will show you the validation of RFA, IFC, and geometry.
Okay, maybe we're going a bit too far because we're about to do the presentation of the next episode. Okay, guys, so maybe right now we were talking about what will be presented. So I will give back the voice back to Roland. Roland, if you could describe us during the demo session how we can define within the Cobuilder the data templates, which later on we will use within the BIMStreamer to actually validate the data. So I'm giving you back the stage, and if you could a bit more light on that.
Okay, thank you very much. So yes, I will show you a demonstration. So how to create a data template. Okay. So I will start the video. Okay. Okay, so just before starting, so for this demo, we have chosen one what we call construction object. Okay, we have selected the radiator construction object. So here is the dashboard in Cobuilder Define set where you will see your activities. Okay, so what you have created, what has been approved, what has been returned and rejected. Okay. So we continue. So here it's the menu, so where you can access all the different entities we have in the data model. Again, the data model. So you have construction object, you have the template, you have a group of properties, of course the measure, the different units. Okay, so it's and also the classification. We will link to the construction object. So here we are in the property area, and so we have a different. You have a search. You can search through different criteria. Okay, with by status, by property type, by data type. Okay, we have the menu here. We can create a property in generic property. So here we will create a new property. So we have decided to use a team class. So with a definition. So in the process, I will explain very shortly in my previous part. So here it's all the attribute you need. So here it's to select the measure. So we have all the attribute they use to qualify the property. So it's a measure, say nominal. So the unit is unitless. And then when you have created your entity, your concept, because it's called a concept, you have to send it for approval. Because in the workflow, in Cobuilder Define, you have two different roles. Okay, so this is always still according to the ISO 25006. Okay, we have two roles in the process. You have what we call the technical experts. So the technical expert is the people who are able to create, to update, to ask for creation or to ask for an update in the dictionary. And you have the domain expert, and the domain expert is the expert who are able to approve or reject your request. So here I am the technical expert who requests for a new property. So this is just a comment to say, okay, please approve. Okay. So now so here in this at this step, the property is in a pending issue, means that you can use you cannot use this property. You have to wait the approval from the domain expert. Okay, so here we have all the property already created for radiator. Let me, and we can, in this case, so we will add the new property we have created to hashtag to the data template of radiator. So here you see you have orange breakpoint. That means that this property is ongoing to be approved. Okay, but you are not blocked. Okay, you can continue the process, even you have to wait the approval from the domain expert. So now I have added to my data template the 18 class property. And now the same for the data template, I will have to send an approval for the data template because I've added in a property into my data template. So means that for each action you do in Cobuilder Define, the creation is not validated automatically. You have to follow the process described in the ISO 250xx, but it's for the user, for the end user, it's not visible, of course. It's the tools is managing the workflow. You have to send for approval. So here we are going to the data template. So in the you have different tabs. Okay, you have a description of a data template. You have the attributes, and you have a group of property. You have link to the data template. The property link to the group of property. The classification. And we will see. You will have to attach the document to which your data template refer. So the attribute, it's all the attribute to qualify your this context. Okay. Concept, sorry, where you have, of course, the GUID generated by automatically by Cobuilder Define to be able to interconnect it with other dictionary, for example. All the group of properties. So here, of course, you have created the property based on the official source of information. So the official source is the EN 442. So here it's all the property coming from this standard. So split in two parts. Always the same. So attributes of the property, and here, of course, the document. Okay, to which we refer. Okay, and from which we have extracted all the property containing in this standard. So on the right side, you see that here you have what is pending for approval. Sorry. So here I will link to a group of properties. So this general property, and I will add this group of property to my data template. So this is the structure of a data model with the entity relation, okay, described in the ISO 25087, based also in the ISO 12006-3. So here is all the concept in a pending status. So now, to make your concept available to be used, okay, we have to approve all concept in a pending status. So again, you see that we have here the property we have added to the data template in a pending status. Okay, so now attribute. And now I am a domain expert, and I approve the request for creation of this the team class property. I will do the same for all the concept in pending status. So you see here that all the property in my data template. So first I have to create the property in my dictionary, and then to add the property previously created to attach to the data template, we referring to the construction object. So now the last step, okay, is to approve the data template itself from the radiator. Okay, are you approved? Now, so here I come back on my dashboard and on the right side, okay, of the screen, I see all the concepts that have been approved, okay, by the domain expert. So what is important to know, say you cannot be both. You cannot be a technical expert and domain expert on the same area. Of course, you can in your organization. You can play the two roles, of course, but only on your not on a specific area where you are a technical expert.
So thanks, Roland, for showing it to us. So in general, Roland just present you how the data template can be orchestrated. So you use Cobuilder as an example to actually present how the data template, which can be later on used for the validation of the content, can be created. It's a pretty much similar approach to what we described within the BSDD, maybe with a way more sophisticated UI and the whole workflow with all the approvals, which definitely for large corporations might be a very interesting option. But once we have the data template ready, how we can utilize that to validate the quality of the BIM content? Adam, can you show us how we can utilize data template to validate the BIM data?
Yeah, let's check how we can use the created template on a Cobuilder site to validate the data on a BIMStreamer site. So we have added the Cobuilder template attribute into Excel file with its radiator name, and now we will start the data validation during the synchronization. We are selecting the radiator, we are selecting the Cobuilder validation. Here we can see that we have provided this radiator value. It's possible also to add different validation at the same time. However, we will skip it at the moment. And here we can see the result of the validation. We can see the green correct values. It means that these attributes has been defined on a Cobuilder site, and they also exist in the Excel attached to BIMStreamer, uploaded to BIMStreamer. And we have the red missing values. It means that these attributes have been defined on a Cobuilder template. However, they are missing in data information provided for this radiator product in BIMStreamer. And when we get this information, we can decide if we are going to fix the data and add them to the Excel, or just start the synchronization and generate the model without complete information. It's possible. Now system is creating the all necessary jobs for the platform, and for the Revit to create the BIM files. Let's wait a little bit. Yeah, now we have finished, and now we can see the results. The data here has been generated during the generation process by Revit, and here we can see all the data that was provided within Excel, and some of them have been validated with Cobuilder template. In a moment, we will download the prepared Revit file, and we will check if the attributes have been injected. Yeah, we can see that attributes have been injected, and this is another thing that we would like to validate in an automated way. And now we can check it. We will select the channel, and now system will find all the IFC files that has been.
So Adam, because we're moving up pretty fast. So before a second ago, we were comparing something in Revit. So we were comparing what exactly? Because maybe it was not clear.
We have been comparing the master Revit file, that one that was uploaded with no additional data information, and the result file where the additional attributes have been injected.
Okay, so they were injected after the validation. They were injected from the Excel file, right?
Yes.
And what we're doing right now, the part that we're presenting?
At the moment, we are validating the created content. Mm-hmm. If the attributes we sent to Revit to be injected into the file, if they really are there.
Okay, so this is the latter part. So we're not validating the data, we're validating both the generated files and the geometry as well.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And this is the IFC validation, and here we can see that it's really not an incorrect value, because it's just a different presentation of 1 and 0. Within the IFC, the 1 is displayed as T, and 0 as false, and this is of course correct. So we can approve this file, and in the second version of validation module, such cases won't be mentioned as errors. Let's go further. Yeah, here we can see that the correct attributes that really have been injected. And in a moment, we will check the RFA validation. As you can see, we have injected plenty of attributes to this IFC. Yeah, now let's go to RFA. And let's check the attributes. And here is the same situation. 1 and 0 is represented by yes and no within Revit. In the second version of validation module, it won't be mentioned as errors. And here can be situations that, for example, attributes have not been injected at all, and they will be displayed as missing, or there will be some kind of rounding numbers done by Revit. So, for example, 1.678 will be presented in Revit by 1.7. And this is a user decision how it should be treated, if as error or as a correct value.
Adam, you mentioned something also about the CAD validation, because I see the tab over there which represents the CAD validation. Could you put a bit more light on that?
Yeah, the CAD validation is not ready yet in this version of validation module. This functionality is in progress. However, we are going to validate the generated gallery for the product, so the PNG files you have seen when we were presenting the result of the product. Sometimes it's possible that these files are cut or even empty, and this might be caused because not well prepared the RVT file. And in such cases, when Revit exports the products, the files, the product is not injected into the frame where the object should be, or it's too much on left or up or even outside the box. So it's possible that these files are empty. And the same cases are with DWG files. However, with DWG, the situation is a little bit more complicated. Revit has some known issues with exporting products to DWG files, and they also are sometimes empty, or the lines are not connected. And it's good to have possibility to validate it in an automated way, because when we are generating so many thousands of DWG files, it's impossible to verify them manually.
So in the future, as far as I understand, the BIMStreamer is working to detect the incorrectly generated PNGs and DWGs files in an automated way.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so I think that it would be it would be a subject of one of our next webinars. So definitely check out our newsletter if this topic of the PNG and DWGs validation is also interested for you guys. Adam, do we have something else? I think we haven't covered the geometry validation.
Yeah, we have one last case to present, the validation, the synchronization that will fail. And this is this example. Yeah, the validation failed. And here we have the error message that informs that Revit has problems with injecting geometry data because the model has blown up, because it was not ready for such data, or the data is invalid and the model is correct. However, this product has invalid data within the data source, and something should be fixed, the Revit master model or the data, and then the synchronization should be done once again, and it will be finished successfully, probably.
Yeah, I remember one time ago I was talking with one manufacturer that had to deal with dozens of different product variants that are about to be provided for the same master file, and it was hard for them to figure out whether the master file is working for all possible variants. So as far as I understand, this particular case is able to sort it out in an automated way.
Yes, because we can inject all of the options, and we will get the information from Revit if the data are correct or not, because Revit will not allow us to inject invalid data.
Okay, Adam, thanks very much for this summary. Before we end up with our session, I would definitely like to invite you for the next episode that is going to happen in the mid of November. Due to the fact that we get plenty of positive feedback from our webinar session that covers the E-Team and D-Team MC, and also we are keep asking how we can utilize E-Team in the concept of the PIM system, and of course in the context of BIM. We decided to present you more deeper intel of connecting PIM, E-Team, and BIM. We'll tell you how to connect the dots in November, and our guest would be the Jean-René Thies from Crossbase PIM and Francois Gears from Gears Consulting, a specialist in data management and in E-Team. So definitely I invite you to navigate to our site, and give me a sec. I will paste you the link for the next webinar so that you can get registered here. In the top section, you're able to click the registration link to register for the next event. I would like to thank you all our guests. Before we disconnect, if there are any questions from the audience, I know that we're already five minutes behind the schedules, but if there are any questions, feel free to ask. If not, I will definitely recommend you to check our next episode if the E-team and PIM and BIM, of course, is a relevant topic for you. Thank you, Roland. Thank you, Adam. Let's wait something like 5 more seconds if there are any questions. And if there isn't, I think we're able to close the session.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.